Minor projects under JKR to be transferred to other departments. Specific act needed to safeguard artist and media personnel welfare. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Mohana Priya and you're watching Updates at Noon. Minor infrastructure projects under the Public Works Department JKR's supervision, such as school renovations and dilapidated clinics, will be transferred to other departments or district offices. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said JKR should not be burdened with such small projects as the department has other big responsibilities.
Projek-projek umpamanya sekolah daif, klinik daif, baiki tanah, tak perlulah lagi membebankan JKR yang punya tanggungjawab terlalu besar. Pindahkan tugas itu ke jabatan atau ke pejabat daerah. Dan insya-Allah pada minggu depan saya akan jumpa semua pegawai daerah untuk meminta mereka menjalankan tugas pelaksanaan di bawah. Ya. Projek-projek besar penting, lebuh raya penting, tempatan banjir penting. Tetapi projek-projek tanah sekolah, parit tepi rumah di kawasan perumahan, ya, pagar masjid yang bocor atau runtuh, itu bagi penduduk itu sangat penting.
The Premier said this in a monthly meeting with the Prime Minister's department staff in Putrajaya. Datuk Seri Anwar also wants all projects for the people, which have been decided and announced, to be implemented fast, adding that heads of departments must monitor the progress of the projects. And on a separate note, the Prime Minister urged civil servants to cultivate the culture of reading, studying and deliberation, especially when drafting and setting policies for the country's direction. He said this culture is important to give space to civil servants in conveying their views.
Hala tuju itu penting. Saya cuba melontarkan madari tapi tidak mengekang kita untuk berbincang dan bersuara. Cuma saya nak lebarkan dengan persetujuan KSM atau KPP pun ada, supaya dalam perbincangan-perbincangan ini ketua-ketua jabatan atau pegawai-pegawai yang mempunyai pengkhususan dalam bidang itu patut bersedia memberi pandangan mereka selain daripada ketua-ketua yang ditugaskan. Dengan cara begini saya ingat musyawarah kita itu lebih bermakna dan berkesan.
Digital and Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil today urged Malaysian students who are currently studying in foreign universities to return and serve Malaysia as soon as they have completed their studies. However, he said for those who wish to stay and work abroad, they are reminded to make full use of the opportunity and make Malaysia proud.
If you stay, make full use of the opportunity. Belajarlah ataupun bekerjalah bersungguh-sungguh, and then one day bring back that talent to Malaysia. Kalau you all pilih untuk bekerja dekat sini, do your best, come home nanti so that you can help Malaysia grow.
The minister said this during a luncheon event with a group of Malaysian students in London. And in other development, Fahmi said a specific act needs to be tabled to ensure and safeguard the welfare of artists and media personnel. He said this is because the Employment Act 1955 that is currently being used cannot fully protect the group. The Communications and Digital Minister said he has been discussing the matter with industry players, touching specifically on welfare issues. He said in order to table this specific act, all quarters involved must give their cooperation as it could take some time before it can be realised.
We do understand. The most that I have is 4 years and 5 months. That's the most that I have left to do all the things that we need to do. And for some of us, to make a law will take about 2-3 years. So tak banyak masa.
Coming up, JAKIM's role to be expanded to alleviate country's dignity and status. Stay with us. The role of the Malaysian Islamic Development Department, JAKIM, will be expanded in efforts to enhance the country's dignity and status. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he had met with JAKIM's leadership recently and wanted them to help draft a national development policy framework based on Malaysia Madani.
Apa yang kita lakukan dengan Menteri Agama yang baru ini dan lain-lain ialah menambah kedudukan JAKIM. Saya di sebaliknya telah mengarahkan supaya peranan Ikuti atau ulama ataupun tokoh-tokoh di JAKIM supaya selari dengan perkembangan ini, supaya input mereka itu dapat memanfaatkan, dapat memberi manfaat dan mengangkat martabat rakyat atau rakyat negara kita.
The Premier was speaking at the 2023 National Recitation and Al-Quran Memorization Competition in Butterworth last night. Pulau Pinang is hosting the national level competition this year, which is scheduled to take place over 6 days until Friday. On another matter, Datuk Seri Anwar invited Muslims to take advantage of the miracles of the Quran by discussing sustainability and the value system it advocates. The Malaysian Cocoa Board, LKM, plans to help farmers open an area of about 200 hectares for cocoa cultivation this year. The Plantation Industries and Commodities Ministry, KPK, in a statement said 110 hectares of the land will be in Sabah, 80 hectares in the Peninsula and 10 hectares in Sarawak. Currently, the country's total cocoa plantation area stands at 5,985 hectares, with 3,444 hectares in Sabah, 1,454 hectares in Sarawak, and 1,087 hectares in the Peninsula. According to the statement, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof, who is also KPK Minister, yesterday attended an engagement session with cocoa plantation operators in Kodiang, Kedah, in conjunction with the Northern Zone's 2023 Commodity Track Program. The session was held at the residence of Zulkifli Romli in Kampung Kubang Menerong, a cocoa smallholder who has been cultivating cocoa since 2015 through the LKM Cocoa Development Program. Zulkifli is one of the 14 cocoa farmers in Kedah, and the state has 4.38 hectares of cocoa plantations, which are found in Kubang Pasu and Padang Terap districts. The ministry said that the Deputy Prime Minister also visited a cocoa bean processing site. Police have arrested 9 individuals suspected of being involved in a fight in Srijaya, Maran yesterday. A video of the incident had gone viral on social media. Maran District Police Chief DSP Nur Zamri Abdul Rahman said the 1 p.m. incident, 3 individuals suffered minor injuries. In a statement last night, Nur Zamri said preliminary investigations revealed the fight was due to a misunderstanding after one of the suspects had blocked another vehicle with his motorcycle. The suspects, aged between 23 and 59, are being investigated under Section 148 of the Penal Code for rioting. Up on the foreign front, former Scottish leader arrested in finance probe. Stay tuned. Former Scottish leader Nicola Sturgeon yesterday was arrested as part of an investigation into the finances of the political party she led for over 8 years. Her detention marks the 3rd arrest in the probe that has sent shockwaves through Scotland's politics, long dominated by the Scottish National Party, SNP.
And here in Scotland,
A spokesperson for Sturgeon said the former SNP leader voluntarily attended an interview with police. She was in custody and was being questioned by detectives as part of Operation Branch Form, which was launched in 2021. The finance probe scandal has plunged the SNP into deep crisis and damaged its dream for an independent Scotland. Sturgeon's husband, Peter Murrell, the former chief executive of the SNP, was arrested in April as part of the probe. At the time, police raided the Glasgow home shared by the couple, erecting a crime scene tent in the front garden and SNP headquarters in Edinburgh. Murrell has long faced questions over the alleged diversion of £600,000 in SNP donations that were meant to support its drive for Scottish independence. Party treasurer Colin Beattie was also arrested in April. The European Union is ready to offer Tunisia a package that includes up to €900 million in financial assistance. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said that the aid was part of a 5-point program, which includes support in the fight against illegal migration that she had proposed to Tunisia's President Kais Saied.
The European Commission is considering macrofinancial assistance as soon as the necessary agreement is found, and we are ready to mobilise up to €900 million for this purpose of macrofinancial assistance. As an immediate step, we could provide an additional up to €150 million in budget support right now.
She said this during a joint press conference with Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and her Dutch counterpart Mark Rutte during a visit to Tunisia. The EU, Italian and Dutch leaders visited Tunisia on Sunday for talks on helping its troubled economy and on reducing the flow of irregular migrants to Europe. They were to meet President Kais Saied, who has assumed near total governing powers over the country since 2021, on talks on economic and migration concerns. The mother of the 4 indigenous children rescued after 40 days lost in the Colombian jungle remained alive for 4 days before succumbing to her injuries suffered in the first May plane crash. The Witoto indigenous children, aged 13, 9, 5 and 1, were found alive Friday by rescuers having wandered alone in the Amazon rainforest since the crash of a small Cessna 206 plane on which they were traveling with their mother, the pilot and a relative. All 3 adults died in the accident, but Manuel Miller Ranok said his injured wife survived briefly with their children beside her. Magdalena Makuti, the children's mother, was an indigenous leader herself. It was in part down to the local knowledge of the children and indigenous adults involved in the search, alongside Colombian troops, that the youths were ultimately found alive, despite threats of jaguars and snakes and relentless downpours, which may have prevented them from hearing possible calls from search parties. According to Luis Acosta of the National Indigenous Organization of Colombia, the survival of the children is a sign of the knowledge and relationship with the natural environment that is thought starting in the mother's womb. They also ate seeds, fruits, roots, and plants that they identified as edible from their upbringing in the Amazon region. A fire caused an overpass on one of America's busiest highways to collapse in Philadelphia, as reports attributed the cause to a truck that burst into flames under the bridge. Now, the collapse took out 4 traffic lanes along an elevated section of the heavily traveled Interstate 95, though no injuries were immediately reported. Captain Derek Baumer of the Philadelphia Fire Department said the situation was considered a hazmat incident, but could not confirm reports that the burning vehicle was an oil tanker. Federal and local law enforcement are looking for the driver, whose whereabouts are unknown. The North-South Highway, one of the busiest in the United States, connecting major cities along the East Coast from Maine to Florida, remains closed in both directions in the Philadelphia area. Rebuilding the section of destroyed highway could take weeks, authorities said, a nightmare scenario for commuters as well as for road travelers at the start of the summer holiday season. U.S. Secretary of Transportation Peter Buttigieg said on Twitter he will be offering any assistance that the department can provide aid to help with recovery and reconstruction. 10 people have died and 11 more have been injured after a bus crash in Australia's Hunter Wine region north of Sydney. Now, the incident was said to have occurred late yesterday, shortly before midnight, when police received a report that a coach had rolled at a junction near the small town of Greta. According to police, initial inquiries indicate 10 people have died, with 11 people transported to hospital via helicopter and road, and 18 passengers escaped without injuries. Police, however, said that those figures could change. A crime scene has been established, and the driver of the bus, a 58-year-old man, was taken to hospital under police guard for mandatory testing and assessment. The area is being examined by specialist forensic police and a crash investigation unit. The Hunter region is replete with vineyards, kangaroos and native bushland, making it a popular spot for tourists and group outings. A local mayor said the bus was believed to have come from a wedding reception held at a nearby wine estate. 3 British tourists were missing and 12 others had been rescued after a motorboat caught fire on Sunday off the Egyptian Red Sea coast. Video filmed from a nearby boat which conducted the rescue showed flames and smoke coming from the boat. The survivors were brought to safety in the nearby diving resort of Marsa Shagra, about 21 kilometers north of the town of Marsa Alam, along with 12 Egyptian crew and guides. According to a statement from the Red Sea State Governor's office, the fire was caused by an electrical short circuit on the boat, which was named Hurricane and had been on a trip since the 6th of June in an area just north of Marsa Alam. A diving manager at Marsa Shagra village, Ahmad Mahir, said he saw the smoke from the boat, which was around 9 kilometers from the beach. He said a nearby boat rescued them and dropped them off. Britain's Foreign Office said it was in contact with local authorities about the incident and supporting nationals involved. The Egyptian prosecution is currently further probing the accident. Coming up next, Djokovic forges new history in the tennis world. More details coming up soon. 39 athletes and 12 coaches from Malacca received a total of 334,350 ringgit as incentives from the state government for their achievement at the national and international sporting events. The recipients were made up of medalists and coaches at the Cambodia SEA Games, Sukma and 2022 Para Sukma, as well as Deaflympics in Brazil. Audio-impaired national women's badminton player Boon Wei Ying received the highest incentive, totaling 60,000 ringgit for winning a gold, silver and bronze medal in the singles, doubles and mixed doubles events at the 2022 Deaflympics in Brazil.
Ini adalah satu program yang dapat meningkatkan kesedaran dan juga keinginan mereka-mereka yang berada di dalam bidang sukan untuk mendapatkan pingat untuk negeri Melaka khususnya. Ini adalah tujuan kita dan jurulatih-jurulatih pula banyak dia orang berlatih. So ini juga akan menjadi satu cabaran kepada jurulatih. Mereka ingin diraihkan sekali dengan penerima pingat, maka mereka akan terus bekerja keras untuk menaikkan nama Melaka.
Shanmugam added that these athletes' success proved that Malacca athletes had their own potential and quality to shine, and that the state government would always support efforts to participate and organize more championships in the state. And in football, Uruguay claimed their first Under-20 World Cup after edging hopeful Italy 1-0 in La Plata, Argentina this morning. The Celestes' victory ends a streak of 4 consecutive wins by European teams in the tournament. Uruguay totaled 15 shots to just 3 for Italy, but the sides remained deadlocked until the 86th minute when midfielder Luciano Rodriguez finally found the back of the net. The game winner came just after an Uruguay corner kick that bounced around the goal box before Rodriguez finally got a solid header on it that easily beat Italian keeper Sebastiano Desplanches. The teams played through 13 minutes of stoppage time before the whistle finally ended the Under-20 World Cup and Uruguay could celebrate. Neither Uruguay nor Italy were among the favourites when the Under-20 World Cup kicked off on 20th May, but unlike Brazil, Argentina and England, they face less resistance from clubs about releasing players for the tournament. The title for the Celeste comes in the wake of Argentina's World Cup title in December, which also ended a sequence of wins by European teams. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City team arrived back home triumphant yesterday in what had been a remarkable season for the citizens. City beat Inter Milan 1-0 on Saturday night in Istanbul to complete the last leg of a remarkable treble trophy season, during which they won the Premier League and defeated bitter local rivals Manchester United in the FA Cup final. The squad flew into Manchester Airport in a light blue Boeing 7879 Dreamliner bearing the club's crest. The team will celebrate their successful season today with a victory parade where tens of thousands of fans are expected to attend and enjoy the party. Manchester City are now the second English club to win the treble alongside Manchester United and are the 10th team across Europe to achieve the feat. For Guardiola, he becomes the first manager to win a treble with two different clubs, having also done it with Barcelona in 2009. And on to tennis. Novak Djokovic forged a new frontier in men's tennis on Sunday at Roland Garros, where the Serbian great defeated Casper Ruud 7-6, 6-3, 7-5 to claim a record 23rd major title. After nullifying Ruud's early charge, Djokovic barely looked back on the way to extending his lead in the pair's ATP head-to-head series to 5-love. Playing in his third championship match in the past 5 major tournaments, Ruud battled well but was unable to maintain his scintillating start. The 24-year-old, who also reached finals at Roland Garros and the US Open in 2022, did not win more than 2 points in a return game after 4-3 in the first set, as Djokovic ruthlessly shut down his opponent's efforts to rally. The early tie-break victory appeared to help Djokovic zone in as he maintained his stellar level in the early stages of the second set. He raced to a 3-love lead by consistently winning the extended exchanges against Ruud. The Serbian dropped just 5 points behind his serve in the second set as his precise delivery pinned Ruud back. Djokovic looked to be continuing his dominance in the third set and threatened an early breakthrough after bringing up 30-40 on Ruud's serve with a huge forehand winner. The Norwegian dialed in behind serve to fend off the danger to keep alive his hopes of kick-starting a comeback. Those hopes faded in the 11th game, however, when Djokovic delivered a string of razor-sharp returns before crushing a backhand cross-court winner at love 40 to break Ruud and move to the brink of history. With his win, the 3-time Roland Garros titleist Djokovic also reclaimed the #1 spot in the Pepperstone ATP rankings from Carlos Alcaraz, eclipsed Rafael Nadal as the oldest Roland Garros champion at the age of 36 years and 20 days, and became the first man to win all 4 Grand Slam events at least 3 times. Ferrari won the centenary edition of 24 Hours of Le Mans after a late pit stop drama on Sunday to take Maranello's first overall victory in 58 years and deny Toyota a 6th successive triumph in the world's oldest active endurance race. The number 51 Ferrari AF Corse, driven by Italian Alessandro Pierguidi, a car shared with Antonio Giovinazzi, and Britain's James Calado, took the checkered flag ahead of the number 8 Toyota. It was Ferrari's first overall success at the Sarthe circuit since 1965, when American Maston Gregory and Austrian Formula One driver Jochen Rindt won in a 250 LM car. But it was a nail-biting to the end. Ikuti failed to get going from the final stop, the Ferrari remaining immobile as Toyota mechanics looked on in disbelief, wondering if a stunning victory might after all be snatched from impending defeat. The Italian started after a reset, but the Ferrari's lead was slashed to 51 seconds before the number 8 Toyota's final pit stop. Ferrari started with both the 50 and 51 cars on Saturday's front row, a first in 50 years for the marque that waged epic battles with Ford in the 1960s before leaving in 1973 and then returning this year to the hypercar category. Ducati's Francesco Bagnaia extended his lead at the top of the MotoGP World Championship after he rode to victory at his home Italian Grand Prix on Sunday for his second sprint race double of the season. Bagnaia was joined on the podium by two Pramac Racing riders, Jorge Martin and Johan Zarco. Red Bull KTM's Jack Miller had a blistering start from the line to surge ahead before turn 1, but his former teammate Bagnaia was quick to pick him off and retake the lead on the opening lap. Martin soon moved up to second, while Marini confidently took his place behind the leading pair to make it 3 Ducatis in the top 3. Miller dropped down the standings when Alex Marquez sped past 3 riders on his Gresini Ducati, making contact with the angry Australian in a risky overtaking maneuver that nearly led to a wipeout. Alex's brother Marc Marquez started second on the grid but fell to fourth before crashing on lap 6 to go 4 consecutive races without finishing for the first time in his career. Marini kept Alex Marquez at bay for as long as he could as they battled it out for the final podium place. But soon after the Spaniard moved up to third, he threw it away with 9 laps to go when he lost his balance and crashed out on turn 2. But Marini had no time to take a breather as Zarco reeled him in and rubbed elbows before the Frenchman moved up to third, denying the home fans the opportunity to see 2 Italians on the podium. And on to cycling, Jonas Vingegaard warmed up for the defence of his Tour de France crown by winning the 75th Criterium du Dauphiné, underlying his credentials as one of the favourites for cycling's biggest race. The Danish cyclist had even looked an early contender for the final mountain stage too, a 152.8 km ride from Le Pont-Clair to La Bastille with a steep climb to the finish. But despite an attack with 1 kilometre to go, the Jumbo